I'm Marie Bernard, host of Synchronicity, talk radio for your mind, body, and soul. Join me Mondays at noon as we explore the universal energy that connects us all. Let's discuss our journey of self-discovery, joy, presence, and living with authenticity. We can create positive change in the world, and it starts within each one of us. Synchronicity, talk radio for your mind, body, and soul. Mondays at noon on CITR 101.9 FM, Vancouver. Hello and welcome to Synchronicity, talk radio for your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Marie Bernard, and this is CITR 101.9 FM in Vancouver, or you might be listening at CFBX in Kamloops or online at CITR.ca, CosmicDimensions.com, EmpowerRadio.com, or on the Co-Creator Network. Welcome back to Synchronicity, talk radio for your mind, body, and soul. I am your host, Marie Bernard. Thank you so much for being with me today. And now we are going to speak with Crystal Verba from Refresh Natural Health, and she's also joined by Sandra. Hi, Crystal and Sandra.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us on the show.
Thank you. And so Sandra, what's Sandra's last name?
Verba, same last name.
Oh, are you sisters?
We're actually mother and daughter.
Oh, wonderful. Who's the mom? Who's the daughter?
I am the daughter. I'm Crystal, and I'm the mom. I'm Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
Thanks for being on the show today. So you are now. We were going to be talking about colon hydrotherapy. Is that specifically what Refresh Natural Health does, or is there a bunch of services?
We do offer a bunch of services with a focus on colon hydrotherapy. My background. This is Crystal speaking. I suffered with allergies, life-threatening allergies from a very young age. Had to travel to the U.S. and all over to search for help. I developed an autoimmune disorder, rheumatoid arthritis when I was 22, and just couldn't find the help I needed. So through traveling and discovering different healing methods, I was able to heal myself of these issues, and colon hydrotherapy was an integral part of doing that. So my mother and I are opening this clinic in hopes of sharing those experiences and helping people that are suffering with similar problems.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. And so I'm curious now, colon hydrotherapy, it's like an enema, right?
It's similar, but with an enema. You know what? I'm going to let Sandra answer this one because she's the expert with that. Here she is.
Hi. Basically, colon hydrotherapy is like an enema, but unlike an enema, we get the water a little further up with some pressure, allowing it to eventually get through the entire colon and give you a really good cleaning out of the colon.
And so I imagine that, number one, that's pretty uncomfortable, and number two, pretty gross for you as the hydrotherapist.
Well, actually, we use a closed system, which basically means that you're hooked up to a hose, and it's not uncomfortable whatsoever. Temperature regulated and pressure regulated water flows into the colon. The therapist, which is me, would stay with the client the entire time, and we work together. When elimination does happen, it stays in the tube. It goes through the unit, which you can see what's coming out and straight into the waste system. So there's never any discomfort, and there's never any smell or mess associated with what we do, which is a really nice part of it.
So this hose is up there, and it's just kind of sucks everything right out of the colon?
It's not sucking. So what's happening is we start with a fill, and so the fill basically goes until the client says, oh, okay, I can feel full. And everybody always says, what's that going to feel like? But you know when you feel full. And then I release the water, and it just basically comes out along with some debris. So it's not really sucking anything out. We're just infusing water in there and letting it out. And then we'll do another fill where water goes up a little bit further, and then with it, we release it, and it takes debris out with it.
So I'm curious, I actually read an article quite a while ago about people using laxatives or doing cleanses and stuff, and how it can actually cause more problems because your colon isn't supposed to be completely empty.
Well, what happens with I'll speak about the laxative because a lot of cleanses out there actually can be a benefit to us. Laxatives don't actually help the muscle of the colon wall to have that peristaltic action, like to have that action to move out. It basically relaxes it, softens the stool, and then when you eat, it kind of just pushes the debris out of us and eventually causes an elimination that way. And that's why a laxative isn't good, because eventually your colon muscle is just going to become weak when it's not having to work. Whereas colon hydrotherapy actually it's like a workout for our colon muscle. It actually will help people that have suffered from using laxatives, weakening their muscle of their colon. Colon hydrotherapy can get that muscle starting to work, and it actually has the opposite effect of laxatives as far as what it does to the colon muscle.
So do people generally take laxatives before they go for hydrotherapy to help? Because what if they've got like lots of like compacted debris up in there?
No, I would never recommend a laxative. What I do say to people is if they can have some warm water the morning of a colonic with some lemon in it or some fresh squeezed lime, that can help. But if they're really compacted, basically what the water's doing is it's going in and it's helping to soften that stool. So sometimes if somebody's really compacted, if they're very constipated, they're not going to have too much results from the first colonic, and that's not always the case, but sometimes it can be the case where it's a series of colonics for somebody that's really compacted in order to be able to soften that stool and get it moving. And then once it gets moving, it actually is allowing the muscle to start working for itself, and that's why it can be a benefit for the colon muscle as well.
So for someone who goes in and it's all good the first time, it just like works like a charm, how often do people need to get colonics for optimum health? Like say they're just an average person with no major health problems. I always tell people to listen to their own body. So if they come in and have a great colonic and they feel fabulous afterwards, a good rule of thumb would be to come in, at the change of the season. I say to people, if you want to do it more often at the change of season, so spring, summer, fall, we can come in, we can have a colonic. And if someone's doing really good and they don't feel like they have to do it that often, even just once a year, coming in at spring, having a good spring cleaning, just like we do in our homes. And especially if it's the kind of person that likes to do cleanses more often, I always say whenever you're doing a cleanse, you're moving things through the body, and that's a good time. And the body's basically dumping everything into the colon. So if you're cleansing, everything's getting dumped into the colon. We want that stuff to move out. We don't want that to sit there. So anytime you're doing a cleanse, you want to come in and have a colon hydrotherapy session just to get that stuff out. But doesn't all the laxatives from the cleanse do that anyway?
Like if you're taking laxatives, it will move stuff out, but you're also you're slowing that. You're not allowing the muscle of the colon to move that out.
Okay.
So long term, laxatives are going to cause harm, and I would never suggest somebody taking a laxative.
And well, because I've taken like a herbal detox before, a herbal cleanse, and part of it you take all these herbs, and part of them, I mean, you have to. It's like a 10 or 12 day cleanse, and day 2 through 5 you want to be like pretty much home because of the pills you're taking. So yeah, and that's actually, those kind of cleanse, those aren't like they're good cleanses to do once a year. You would never want to, if someone's constipated and they're taking those kind of herbs on a regular basis in order to keep themselves moving, again, that's not the way to do it because you don't want to depend upon something. But for a yearly cleanse, when you're doing something like that, that's a good thing to do. And again, that's when you want to come in for a colonic and kind of assist everything to move along. And so I'm curious, Sandra, is there any legislation around colon hydrotherapy? Like, I don't imagine it's covered by medical, but are there Western medical doctors that are advocates of it, or is this more of a non-traditional healing modality?
There are some doctors that believe that it's a good thing to do. We're starting to, not so much in Canada, but other parts of the world are using colon hydrotherapy as a instead of the laxatives that you need to take, for example, before you go in for a colonoscopy. You can actually have a colonic, a series of 2 colonics right before you go in for a colonoscopy. So some doctors are starting to see that that's a better way of going than the harsh laxatives that you need to take for 2 days before something like that. We are governed by a place called IACT, and they're the ones that regulate us and certify us. And I am under the IACT board certification, and so there are some guidelines that we definitely have to follow. And we are FDA approved. Most of the equipment out there that you can get is FDA approved. So, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question entirely.
I think so. Thank you. And so you're opening this Refresh Natural Health. When is that happening?
We're opening on October 2nd, and we're just having a soft opening, and our grand opening is on the October 18th, 19th, and 20th. And actually, Crystal's really excited about this, so I'm going to pass it back to her. Here she is.
All right.
Hi there. Sorry, I let her take the phone, but she's an expert in those kinds of questions. So one other thing I wanted to add, though, is that colon hydrotherapy allows hydration of the intestinal tract as opposed to the laxatives, which can be very dehydrating as well. So the hydration aspect of it is very appealing to a lot of people.
That makes sense because, laxatives can be quite dehydrating. I mean, when someone has, I hate saying this word on the radio, but diarrhea,
yes.
One of the biggest concerns is dehydration, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and the laxatives, they just push everything through, and then a month later, you're going to probably find that you may have some constipation or other symptoms because of that dehydration. So it's nice to get water up there and really, really hydrate the colon.
So do you just put water, or are there little magic stuff you add to it?
There are some magic. Chlorophyll is a great thing to add. Good bacteria as well. A lot of people are concerned with colon hydrotherapy because when you get everything out, of course, there's some good that goes with the bad as well. So at the end of a treatment, we do an implant of chlorophyll that replenishes all your good bacteria, your minerals, and everything so that you leave feeling phenomenal.
So you put chlorophyll, like an implant. What do you mean by that?
So the machine itself has an implant tank. So it's this exact same system that Sandra already described, except it comes through a different sanitized tank with chlorophyll and some minerals and water that gets infused. And you just lie there comfortably and let that set in your colon, absorb a little bit, and then you release that as well. And a lot of people find that with the chlorophyll, because it's it kind of grasps on to lots of the toxins in your colon, that a lot will come out after that, and even throughout the day, that it's really beneficial to get out of your system.
So you talked about now the sanitized water. So this is so weird to talk about on the radio, but I mean, you stick this tube up your bum. Mm-hmm. So is it a brand new tube, or do you wash it like how?
Yeah, everything that comes in contact with the patient is disposed of. And the machine itself is completely sanitized, but that's never, like, the contents of the machine are completely sanitized, but everything that touches you is disposed, or the insert itself is disposed. Everything's new, everything's fresh. There's no cases where there's that contamination.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
If you research the closed system, you can see a photo of it. It's just a very small machine that's up on the wall. It's actually quite a comfortable treatment, and obviously I can speak from experience to that. I've had many treatments, and it's quite comfortable. A lot of people come in and they're scared, but it's nowhere near probably the idea of what you have in your head. Okay.
Yeah, I saw it on some reality TV show with our friend Susan Powder was doing it. It was the one with Paris Hilton, and it was at a weight loss camp, and they did it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I haven't seen that, but a lot of people do go to colon hydrotherapy for weight loss. It's amazing how much weight you can store in your colon. So we have people weigh themselves before the treatment and then after the treatment, and you can lose, typically you lose like 4 or 5 pounds just by doing one treatment.
Now, but I mean, aren't you losing 4 or 5 pounds of stuff from your colon?
Exactly. So that moves out, and what that does is it allows, because the toxins in your body store fat. So the more room that's in your colon, the more your body can take the toxins out of your fat, move it into your colon, and then there's room for that to leave. So through doing colon hydrotherapy, you're moving those toxins out, and your cells go, oh, there's more room. Okay, let me release these toxins into the bowel, and then those go as well. So it's a good cycle to begin to get out those years of toxic waste out of your cells.
Wonderful. Well, at the end of the hour, I guess I'll leave it till the very end so that when phone calls are coming in, I'm not having to multitask. But you guys are going to give away a free session, right?
That is correct. So one session of colon hydrotherapy, it's an $80 value, and we're thrilled to give it away. We really want, we love it when people come and it's their first time, because it's a life-changing treatment. So we're excited to give that away.
Wonderful. Okay, and so I will put out the cue to call at the end, and then if I just take their name and phone number and pass it on to you, is that that's good enough? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
That's wonderful. We're actually during our grand opening. I know I got distracted because I'm so excited, but our grand opening is happening from the 18th to the 20th of October. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. On the Friday, we're going to have a band and the ribbon cutting. So that's going to be a fun day. But any day you come, it's 25% off of everything in store, and treatment packages and single treatments as well. So we invite anyone to come by and just check us out. You don't have to have a colon hydrotherapy treatment when you come. Just come and see what we're all about. We'd love to meet you.
So, and what's the address of this place?
The address is 3823 Henning Drive. It's just on the corner of Lougheed and Boundary. So if you head down Boundary, you hit Lougheed, and we're right there, right by the Bridge Film Studios. If anyone knows where that is, it's right across from the Bridge Film Studios.
Okay, so it's near like the McDonald's then,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, right across from the McDonald's.
So if you eat at McDonald's a lot, you should definitely go to Refresh Natural Health.
And it's funny, we have various clients, and some of them come to us after every Monday, because on the weekend they go and they splurge on different things, and they come in on Monday just to get that cleansing so that the toxins don't build up in their bodies. So, if you're eating McDonald's, you can still come.
So now I asked how often is optimal and for a healthy person once a season. But what about people who are wanting to lose weight? How much would going like once a week or once a month, would that be too much? Because you know how some people think, oh, well, once is great, so 10 times would be better. Sure.
And when people come, usually after the first session, we're able to see what's coming out of your system and how toxic you may be. Because also, if you're extremely toxic and haven't really done any cleansing in your life, if you do too much at once, you may have a detox reaction. So we try to avoid that with people. Typically, though, for a person that wants to get started, if they can come a few times in a row, so maybe once a week for a month or even twice a week for a month, really get things moving so you see those results faster, and then maybe maintenance on a once a month basis. And then as you keep moving forward, you'll see that your the matter coming out of your system is maybe cleaner, or maybe not. Just you start to notice a difference, and then we can slow down to where you are just coming at the beginning of the seasons. There really is no harm to doing colon hydrotherapy once a week. The only thing is, if you are extremely toxic, it depends on how slowly or quickly you want to go through that detox.
And so what's the difference between colon hydrotherapy and like a coffee enema or something?
Well, a coffee enema goes just into the sigmoid colon and up the portal vein, and what that does is it tells your liver to dump the toxins, which is a great thing for people to do. Obviously, when people are doing it at home, we do recommend they do it under a doctor's recommendation or something like that, so that just to make sure you don't have any contraindications for doing that. So when the liver dumps the toxins into the system, there has to be that movement. So if you have a lot of blockages in your small intestine, large intestine, that the toxins won't move through so quickly. So if you do want to start doing enemas at home, and specifically the coffee enemas, you want to make sure you have the room in your intestine for the toxins to flow out. If you're doing enemas, maybe you want to start with doing some water enemas, just to make sure that you're getting the sigmoid colon, any impacted matter in the sigmoid, released, and then do coffee, just so it's not a blockage there, and then the toxins sit in your system and then reabsorb into your blood, which can cause a lot of dangerous reactions.
All right, thank you. And I have one more question before I go into my other questions. Just kind of the similar, like, can you just put regular old tap water up there, or should it be disinfected sterile water?
Definitely not tap water. With the tap water, you have many things like the chlorine and other agents in there that you do not want to put right into your colon. The wonderful thing about the colon is that what you put in there is going to absorb 50 times faster than something that you eat and goes through your system. So, when you have the tap water, in the chlorine, your body can pick and choose and get rid of some things and then, store some things. But when it goes right into your colon, it just all absorbs. That's why the water is so great. But you want to use purified water. Our system here, the Colon Hydrotherapy unit, uses, I think it's a 3-filter system just to get all the toxins out of the water before infusing it into your colon.
And so that other stuff you were talking about, do you put any electrolytes or anything up in there?
The minerals that go in the chlorophyll do have electrolytes in them, and the chlorophyll itself is a great electrolyte and mineral replacement. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we've talked so far. We just have a few minutes left in the show. So I want to let people know at the very end, if you're interested in getting your colon rinsed out at Refresh Natural Health, they're giving away a free session. So wait till the very end of the show, and I'll put out the cue to call for that. The first caller who gets through will get that gift. And so far we've been talking about a healthy average person, but you had some health problems. So what are some of the, especially I think you'd mentioned autoimmune issues. So tell us about that, because so many people have autoimmune problems these days.
Oh, it's growing. It's unbelievable, and I mean I'm grateful that I'm on the other side of it, because that was the scariest time of my life, most certainly. My autoimmune, or I like to say my old autoimmune. I don't have an autoimmune anymore, but it's iritis. And that's not a very well-known one. Autoimmune typically would be Crohn's disease or type 1 diabetes. Those are the more familiar ones. Iritis is basically my body attacking my eyeball. So it was the most painful experience. I couldn't see. Everything was black. And then as well, my joints, rheumatoid arthritis. And the hospitals, it's a very unique thing, autoimmune, because it's your body attacking itself. So they don't quite know what to do with it. They would tell me it was stress related, perhaps, or what they didn't have any clue. They wanted to put me on steroids, which I wasn't comfortable with. So I have done many things. It's definitely the stress that needs to stay to a minimum. Meditation is great. And what else could I recommend to people? Just to the cleansing. The cleansing is a big part of it. I have lots of allergies too. So what ended up happening is when I would have anything I was allergic to, my body would get frustrated and my digestion wasn't working as well. And the food particles that weren't being digested would go back into my bloodstream and my body would attack those. So it was a cycle of my body being confused, attacking, confused, attacking. And what I've done that's really helped me is the cleansing, always getting the toxins moving, repairing my digestion, and keeping the stress to a minimum. And we have many supplements here that do help with that process as well. But the main thing is cleansing and just taking care of yourself and letting your body find that state of healing, and so that your adrenals aren't constantly stressed, which is a huge part of the digestive process as well.
Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, I have a lot of autoimmune problems as well. Nothing that's major enough for a diagnosis, but I have joint problems and skin inflammation and things like that that are all definitely autoimmune, but it's not like I've actually asked my doctor numerous times, do I have arthritis?
Yeah.
Because, and apparently I don't, yet I have joint pain so often, and it'll be just sort of no rhyme or reason to it. Like maybe it's allergies, I don't know.
It could be a lot, and we need to get back to eating just sort of whole foods. I find that when I eat lighter meals throughout the day and don't eat those heavy things, I feel phenomenal. So I stay away from gluten and all those things that we know are irritants to the system. And I'm feeling great now. So I hear what you're saying. Autoimmune. I think that there's so many people walking around with these problems that are just undiagnosed, but we have the power to heal ourselves, and that's what we try to teach people here.
Cool. Well, thank you. Coming up in just a moment is Parts Unknown here on CITR. We have just a few minutes left in the show. So, Crystal, you are going to be having the grand opening of Refresh Natural Health, which is at 3823 Hemming Drive, did you say?
Henning, Henn.
Henning.
Yes.
Henning Drive, and that is near Lougheed and Boundary.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Someone's calling in. I'm just going to see if it's a question.
Okay.
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi, I'm calling. Is this Synchronicity?
It is, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have a question, actually, for Sandra and Crystal.
Wonderful. It'll have to be quick because Parts Unknown is coming up, but go ahead.
No worries. Yeah. My question is that I suffer from Crohn's disease, and I was just wondering if colon hydrotherapy would be beneficial to the maintenance of my health.
Hi, Clayton. This is Sandra.
Hey.
Hi. Are you symptomatic at the present moment?
At the present moment, I am not. No, I'm in remission.
Oh, okay. So colon hydrotherapy could be something that could help you for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there any surgery? What did you do to bring yourself to a point where you weren't having the symptoms anymore?
Well, I have had a couple surgeries. I've had an ileocecal valve, or my only ileocecal valve, removed, and I've had a bowel resection at one point. But then other than that, it's just been good eating habits and exercise. It's found it's kind of maintained it.
Excellent, yeah, and that's what's going to make the huge difference. Because the ileocecal valve, then you've had that removed. We would have to consult your doctor, and we could go into the reasons why, but I know our time is short. So, we'd have to, because the ileocecal valve basically stops fecal matter from going from the the large intestine to the small intestine, and it's a one-way valve, and you only ever want stuff going from the small to the large, so we never want to do colon hydrotherapy if that valve is missing, because then we're forcing debris from the small from the large possibly into the small.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, we'd have to work with your doctor with that for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, thanks for answering that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thanks for calling in.
Thanks
Definitely.
so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
If you want a chance to win a free colon hydrotherapy session, be the first caller to call 604-822-2487 once I say goodbye, so that I have a chance to answer the phone and take down your name and number. So I'm going to close the show because the next show is coming up here on CITR. So thank you so much to both of you ladies from Refresh Natural Health, and the grand opening is 18th, 19th, and 20th of October. And what's your website?
It's refreshnaturalhealth.com.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So again, you can go to refreshnaturalhealth.ca, and it looks like we've got people already calling in for that free hydrotherapy session, 604-822-2487. This has been Synchronicity Talk Radio for your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Marie Bernard. We'll be back with more Synchronicity next week. Be well. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.